guys tell us how excited you guys are being here in Miami at Marlins Stadium for this event, combining wrestling with baseball.
It's always great to come back to Florida for me anyway. I know Jim lives in Tampa, so he just gets to be in Florida all the time. For me, it's a lot of memories here in Miami, and it's great to see this brand new stadium. You hear about it, be here and see it, see what a beautiful stadium it is.
It's absolutely beautiful. We would be rather watching the Dolphins, so.
You mentioned sending out a lot of
I had a lot of really good memories, but I think most of the really good memories I have are more related to the fans and the wrestlers themselves and the hotels. And, the people here that I used to know, like that come to the show, there's a lot of really great fans here. The fans here were really educated about wrestling. They're long-time wrestling fans and watched it for a long time, and so they appreciated a good wrestler. I got to come up with a good match. For the very first day that I wrestled in Miami, I always felt really welcome. I always had a good fan response, and the fans were always very excited, lively, and supportive.
There was that beautiful blonde you used to have down here. Your girlfriend's quite nice. Cindy?
Bret, you mentioned on an interview with Stone Cold that you kind of paved the way for guys like the Lions and the street guys that are very technical. What's your thoughts right now on Ryan being able to push the WWE?
I think it's great. I think he's a great wrestler. I think CM Punk's a great wrestler. I'll say this much. I think if you watch wrestlers today, you know that they weren't watching Hulk Hogan. They were watching Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. And wrestling has gone in the right direction as far as it's about the wrestling. A lot of people today don't like the wrestling. There's not enough wrestling, But the reality is, to me, watching it, I think Punk and Bryan Daniels and Randy Orton and a lot of guys, they're every bit as good as all the wrestlers I worked with years ago. They were really laying it on the line. There's some great innovators that are coming up with new moves and things that. When I retired from wrestling, I really felt like everything had been done. There's not much left to do that I can think of. I couldn't come up with a lot of new scenarios or new moves and stuff like that. Although, I always did come up with a new one all the time. But in watching the wrestlers today, I'm very impressed with how many of them can come up with new moves and new ideas. And if you really look at wrestling, it's just a square and some ropes. It's the same square for the last 60, 70 years. It's a very limited stage. You have maybe some stairs on each side, and you got a valet maybe, or a manager, or a referee, and some tables, and some railings, and that's pretty limited what you can do in a wrestling ring. But every day there's these young wrestlers today are creating new stuff, they're coming up with new moves, and really complex moves. The rings are a little better today, and they're not having to take the falls that guys like me and Jim took a lot of hard falls. The rings were a lot harder, the schedule was a lot harder. But I tip my hat to all the young wrestlers today.
If you were to headline a WrestleMania, who would you headline it
today? Bret the Hitman Hart from circa, say, 1997, the U.S. bashing Bret Hart would have to lay a beat down on John Cena. I think everyone would want to see that. I think, to be honest, I really think John Cena's character and Bret Hart's my character from wrestling would have been a great.
I don't think that John Cena's got the repertoire that you got as far as wrestling moves.
He's a great wrestler. He doesn't get enough credit for being a great wrestler. He's a really hard-working, as hard a worker as there ever was a wrestler.
And Jim, how much of a role did you play in Natalia's, your daughter's wrestling experience? And you did.
How much of a
role did you play in her career?
Natalie's a pretty big, strong girl. She's done a lot by herself. And she's followed a lot of advice like through Bret and her grandfather Stu Hart and up through the Hart basement, the dungeon down there. So
she learned in life to do it. Anything Jim did to do the opposite.
What are your thoughts on her being featured on every week as far as a reality show and maybe helping her get maybe more opportunity of being performing?
Well, that's a hell of a show, for one thing. And the next episodes coming up are quite good. With Nettie getting married and the Bella twins and stuff like that. Pretty exciting. All those girls have really good characters.
Okay.
when you watch the show as a dad, you kind of get ticked off some of the things that happen to your daughter?
Nanny's a big girl, but she can take care of herself.